So multiplying and dividing integers. The rules for multiplying and dividing integers are different than the rules for adding and subtracting integers. The last few days we've talked about that a positive number plus a positive number is a positive number, and a negative plus a negative number is negative. If we have a positive and a negative, then whether the answer is positive or negative depends on which one has the largest value. Like if we had a 10 and a 3 that we were adding, but the 3 was negative, then the answer would be positive. But if we had a negative 10 and a positive 3, then our answer would be a negative 7 because the bigger number 10 was negative. Now that we're doing multiplication and division, things change. When we multiply two positives together, we have a positive. But when we multiply two negatives together, we also get a positive. It's like in English when we have a word with like two different words that both mean the opposite of something. Like if I were to say, I don't not like math, I have two negative words in there, don't and not. And together, technically, I'm saying I do like math. If we're mixing the signs of a positive and a negative together when we multiply or when we divide, we end up with a negative answer. Okay, let's go through some of these problems together and check them. We'll do a few together. We have three different ways of writing multiplication. We have parentheses. When we have a number right next to the parenthesis, that means multiplication. We have an asterisk, that means multiplication, and we have a dot, that means multiplication. Then we have two different ways that we're showing division. We have the division symbol with the line and the two dots, and we have fractions. Anytime you have a fraction, it literally means the top number divided by the bottom number. If you have more than one number you're multiplying together, count the number of negatives to figure out whether your final answer is going to be negative or positive. If there's an even number of negatives, your answer will be positive. If there's an odd number of negatives, your answer will be negative. So let's look through some of these together. What is 6 times negative 4? If you have that answer, you can quickly write it on your whiteboard for me and show me what you've got for that one. Awesome. So 6 times negative 4 is a positive number times a negative number. We get a negative answer, negative 24. Okay, I might skip around a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of fill these in so you can check your answers. 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 3 times negative 4. So we have a negative times a negative. We get a positive answer, right? Some of you have gone ahead and written that down for me, and you're showing me that positive 12. 3 times 4 is normally 12. Since we have two negatives, multiply those together. We get negative times negative is a positive 12. All right. Let's switch. I'm not going to not do the others for you. Let's just check them together. So negative 6 times 5 is negative 30. The next one I'm going to have you write down is number 7 on your whiteboards. You can write everything on your paper. On your whiteboards, just write down the answer to number 7. So 5 times negative 7 would be negative 35. And negative 2 times a negative 1 is a positive 2. So just go ahead and check your answers to those so you've done the same thing I did. All right, on number 7, what happens when we take a positive 35 and we divide a negative 5? Every answer I've seen so far on your whiteboards is correct. Some of them I can see better than others, but you're writing largely with a nice marker. If your marker is dying and not able to see it very well, feel free to throw those dead markers away and get into comments. I have some really old markers over there. And I have more newer ones the way my closet that I can get out so we don't run out of markers. Okay, good job. So this one was a negative 7 because we were dividing a positive number by a negative number. What happens on number 8 when we divide a negative number by a negative number? So show me your answer to that one. Good. Those of you showing me your answers, that's excellent. The answer is in fact 2. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. I'm going to go ahead and just help you double check the answer to number 9. It should be a negative 6. We're doing negative 24 divided by 4, so our answer has to be a negative number. Okay, on your whiteboard, show me your answers to number 10. Number 10. Good, I've got 2 right answers, 3 right answers, 4, 5, 6, 7. Scratch the one on that one, double check it. Yes, good. Okay, so we're doing negative 60 divided by negative 15, and the negatives cancel out, and 60 divided by 15, if I were to take my 60 blue cloths and divide them into 15 cloths per day, I have 4 days that I need those cleaning cloths for, right? So our answer is 4. All right, I'm just going to have us do number 11 for fun, just because I kind of like that number combination, and I will tell you why in a second. So, what is it? Good, good, good. I'm seeing all the answers. I'm seeing on your whiteboard. Thanks for participating. Are great answers. If you're on your phone, consider putting your phone away and paying attention with the rest of us. Okay? All right, this one is a negative 13 because we have a positive divided by a negative, so we get a negative answer. The thing I like about these particular numbers is I remember my 13 times 4 multiplication because it's a deck of cards. I don't know how many of you play card games, but there's 52 cards in a deck of cards. And there's 4 different suits: hearts, diamonds, spades, and which one am I missing? Oh, there's clubs, right? And then there are 13 cards of each suit. So we have the numbers, well, we have an ace, and then we have 2 through 10, and then we have jack, queen, and king. So 13 cards per suit, 4 different suits, 52 cards. So that's just one I like to remember that way. Okay, so number 12, negative 6 divided by 1 is just going to be a negative 6. All right, figure out number 13 for me and hold it up on your boards for me. Number 13. Good, most of you have got that. I see that one's a little off, and that one's a little off. That one's good. That one's not quite big enough. Yep, that one's good. Good. Good, I got lots of good answers from most of you. Let's check it together. So this one is 100. First thing I want you to notice is the answer is positive. Why is the answer positive? Because we have 2 negatives and they cancel each other out. Good. So we have a negative 2 times 5. Let's do that part first. Negative 2 times 5 is a negative 10. And then we're going to take that negative 10 and multiply it times this other negative 10. And 10 times 10 is 100. But because we have 2 negative 10s, we're multiplying together, we get positive. Okay, number 14 for me. Good, some of you were expecting me to ask that one, and you've already got it on your whiteboard. Excellent. Every answer I've seen so far has been correct. Thank you. That was a little bit off. Yep, that one's good. Just a double check. Yep, good. Anybody else want me to check your answer? Excellent. Okay, let's multiply those together. Now, there's 2 different ways you could approach this one. You could actually do each number individually and multiply them and figure out the negatives and positives as you go. Or you could just count the number of negatives. So we have 1, 2, 3 negatives. So what happens when we have 3 negatives? Our answer is going to be negative, because a negative times a negative is a positive, times another negative is a negative. Now that we know that part, we can ignore the negatives. Let's just multiply the numbers. So we have 1 and 2 is 2, times 3 is 6, times 4 is 12. Wait, where did I mess up? So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 4 is 12, right? No, 6 times 4 is 24. I think my math was wrong somewhere. 24 times 2 is 48. So the answer is negative 48. Makes sense? But see how I just kind of counted the negatives first? So I knew the answer was going to be negative, and then I could just go with the numbers. Okay, what did you guys figure out for different ways to multiply numbers together and get 24? Put anything you figured out on your boards for me. Perfect. So we have a negative 6 times a negative 4, and that definitely gives us 24. Somebody else have another option for us, maybe with 2 positives instead of 2 negatives. 8 times 3, 6 times 4, those are all great options. Anybody else have anything different? 2 times 24 is actually 48. So what number would we need to change the 2 to make it work properly? 2 times 12 would work, yes. Or 1 times 24, right? So there's lots of different combinations we can use to multiply together to get 24. So I've just written down 2 examples, one with 2 negatives, one with 2 positives. But there's many other options you could have written there. Okay, what about negative 18? Show me what you figured out for that. So I have a negative 2 times a 9. That's a good one for negative 18. A negative 6 times 3. A negative 9 times 2. Very good. Any others that you want to send my way for negative 18? Just to check and see if what you wrote down was a good one or not. Just tell you from here. Okay, I'm just going to pick one of those to go with. Actually, I didn't actually see this one. I'm just going to write it down. So 18 times negative 1 would be another option, correct? Just like 6 and a negative 3, or negative 6 and positive 3, or positive 2 and negative 9. Lots of different possibilities to get that negative number. But the key to that is one of the 2 numbers has to be negative to get a negative answer. Whereas on this one, both of the signs had to be the same to get a positive answer. Okay, let's look at division. So there's going to be tons of possibilities, infinitely many for these. So I just need 2 numbers that multiply to get a negative 5. Show me what you decided on for this. 2 numbers that divide to get a negative 5. That's really close. I'm going to need you to switch the 2 numbers. So if you look at your classmate behind you, it's in the other order. Okay, those are great options. That one's awesome. I see some great combinations of numbers to divide to get a negative 5. Let me see if I can remember what some of them were now that you have this right. So someone had a negative 5 divided by 1. And I think I saw, what were one of the ones that I saw? I saw lots of different ones. Like 25 divided by negative 5, right? But yeah, there's infinitely many possibilities. If you wrote your own down there that worked to the right answer and they were different than mine, that's perfect. Okay, 4. What numbers can we divide to get 4? Not quite. Yep, those will both work. So here's one that I just saw. 8 divided by 2 is definitely 4. 40 divided by 10. Okay, that's correct. It does multiply to get 4, but it's not a division. So we're looking for numbers that divide to get 4. 4 divided by 1. So 2 divided by 8 would be 1/4. If you switch it around, so we have 8 divided by 2, then it will be 4. Good job. 2 divided by negative 2. Now that will turn out to be negative 1, not 4, right? Anybody else have any other options for 4? Just for sake of variety here, I'm going to throw in a problem with 2 negatives. A negative 16 divided by a negative 4, so that my negatives cancel out and I get a positive 4. So I'm looking for problems on that would divide out to get a positive 4. Okay, this isn't terribly difficult stuff. You should be able to do 2 more Khan Academy assignments from this now. One is called multiplying integers and the other one's called dividing integers. I think you'll have them done really fast because they only have 4 questions each. So you're going to just get on your Chromebooks, go to those Khan Academy assignments. They're linked. The links are just in modules. Click on them. When you click on it, it takes you to the assignments where you'll see videos you can watch if you want to. You don't have to watch the videos. Then you'll click on the link to the actual assignment. You'll do the assignment, you screenshot it, you submit it in that assignment right there out in Canvas. And then I can quickly just go through and grade those when I see your scores that you submit just a screenshot. You can put the whiteboards away if you want, but we are going to do more today. Like, I'm going to give you like 10 minutes to work right now. And then we will go on with decimals and percentages and fractions in a few minutes.